A lot of people are going to judge you mercilessly. What do you want to say to them?
Well, I think I grew up in a small town. Everyone's got their shit. I apologise to every innocent party that was dragged through this, including Sebastian. I'm really sorry. But, you know, you can't help. I couldn't help it. You can't help who you fall in love with.
She's the woman at the centre of the biggest political scandal in decades, yet nobody has heard her side of the story until now. Hello, I'm Melissa Doyle. Welcome to Sunday Night. Tonight, Vikki Campion opens up for the first time about her illicit affair with Barnaby Joyce, their love child, and the pressure that almost drove her to do the unthinkable. It's raw, unfiltered, brutally honest. But as Alex Cullen reports, at the very heart of this story is the couple's unconditional love for their gorgeous newborn, Sebastian, the most talked about baby in Australia.
Here we go. Put that on. Like that. Oh, that's nice.
Oh,
how good's that?
Going for a swim.
I feel like we've been through more than many married couples. That's a long baby. I think that child was forged in the fires, and you know he's going to be tough. Yeah, you know he has to be tough. And I think that our relationship has only, I think, gotten stronger.
Say hello to Sebastian Curtis Scott Joyce.
He looks at you. He loves his dad.
The baby at the centre of a national scandal that would ultimately cost his father, the then Deputy Prime Minister, his job.
Hello.
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 You just look at this, two blue eyes staring up at the blue sky and staring back at you, and you look at Sebastian and you think, boy, man, you cause some problems.
Tonight, Vikki Campion and Barnaby Joyce tell their side of the story. G'day, Vikki.
G'day, Alex.
How are you?
Very well,
Have a
thank
seat.
you.
To finally end the rumours and speculation.
Please have a seat. Okay, here we are. Thank you both for doing this.
You're welcome.
Vikki, Australia is yet to hear you speak on camera. This is the first time we hear what you have to say. First of all, how are you?
I'm very nervous.
Very nervous. Why?
I'm nervous because I always said that I would never talk about this, and it got to a point where we had to end the circus. And, you know, when you're walking around with the 3-week-old baby being papped, I would do anything to protect him from more of this.
She's right, mate.
Okay,
Don't worry
sorry.
about it. It's right. Yep.
There's been a lot of speculation in the media about payment for this interview. I want to ask you, Vikki, why are you doing this?
Well, as far as I see it, everybody else is making money out of Sebastian except for Sebastian. So I think he deserves, you know, everyone else is making money out of this kid except for him. So let's actually take some of that, put it in a trust, and then he can use that for his education and his health. Neither of us can access it.
Not a cent is going to you?
Nothing.
Not a cent is going to us. This is really important. We designed it this way because we knew this question would be asked. This is a trust account for Sebastian. So nothing's going to me, nothing's going to Vikki. This is for a young bloke called Sebastian Joyce.
He's been the most talked about baby in the nation.
Yeah.
Vikki, how is motherhood?
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. He is an absolutely gorgeous baby, and I love him so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Has motherhood changed you?
Definitely. I cry a lot more than I ever did.
Right, here we go. We're going to do this once. That's a one shot. One shot. Wow.
He is central to your life now.
Yes.
Who does he look like?
Well, I think he's got my shape eyes, but he's got your colour.
His colour? Okay.
What, red?
He definitely goes florid when angry.
Right.
Yeah, you can tell his emotion based by the colour of his skin.
You can tell his mood.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Right.
What's he like at changing a nappy?
You know what? Surprisingly very good. Oh.
Surprising.
Surprisingly, yeah. No, he's very good with Seb, and he loves his dad very much.
Yeah.
And you know,
I love Seb.
yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be odd if he didn't. He's
Yeah.
a beautiful boy. An absolutely gorgeous boy.
Good boy. Hey, good boy.
Let's go back, Vikki. Way back. You were a journalist with News Corp for more than a decade, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I think it was 11 years working for News Corp. 8 of those years, or 9 of those years, were with the Daily Telegraph.
Did you enjoy being a journo?
I loved it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I loved being a journalist. Particularly, I have to say, particularly a regional country journo, because you're part of the community and it is a blast. Yeah, I loved it.
Vikki's experience as a reporter led her to politics. And in 2016, she went to work on the then Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce's re-election campaign.
Barnaby, pleasure and Natalie.
My wife, Natalie.
Barnaby had been married to Natalie for 23 years. Together, they had 4 teenage daughters. Was he hard to manage?
Yes, which I think other media advisors following would probably agree. I think, you know, Barnaby, you know, has such a commanding presence, and people, they either love him or they loathe him.
And did that commanding presence appeal to you?
Definitely not at that time. You know, there was a certain prestige working for the Deputy Prime Minister. I think, you know, politically people aspired to that.
And Barnaby, what did you think of this ambitious young staffer?
She's just good at her job. Vikki is an absolutely voracious reader. She understands not only media but philosophy, the whole things, and she's ruthless. She's a ruthless go-getter journalist, and in my game, which is a ruthless game, you need to surround yourself with strong people, and that's what I got with Vikki Campion.
Mm-hmm. Sassy.
Oh yeah. She's but you know, this is the big thing at the start. I know the big thing at the start was just she was on a game.
What he says is irrelevant. Just wait around. He'll change it.
You're spending a lot of time together.
Yeah.
A professional relationship.
Yep.
Vikki, when did it go from professional to romantic?
I think we were close for a long time before there was anything.
A long time after other people thought it had. That's for certain.
Look, I was close to him. I was going through some fairly difficult private circumstances of my own. He was also going through some things, and
Your marriage, Barnaby?
Oh, it's just, you know, too long away from home. It was, you know, I'm not going to go into the gory details, but it was, you know, is what it is.
So very slowly, this was going from professional to a romantic relationship.
Yes, very slowly.
Who made the first move?
What do you mean?
Well, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, but I'm not going to answer you. But what I can say is it's...
When did you both realise that, yes, this is more than just professional?
I don't know, mate. When did it happen with your missus?
I remember...
Oh, here we go.
As soon as I met her. The minute I met her. The minute I met her.
Oh...
So there you go. It's true. It's true.
All right, okay. When people say, when was the first time? It's not. It's more organic than that. It doesn't work like that. It's you do become very good mates first, and in a funny way, that's more of an impediment than an assistance, because if you do something wrong, remember that person's working there in the office with you. So be careful.
But surely you knew the ramifications if this got out, Vikki.
The ramifications were huge for both of us. I think we both knew that.
Yeah.
You can't. I think you can't help who you fall in love with.
Yeah. We knew exactly what the ramifications were because of the roles that we both had. We were very conscious of the fact that we had to be, that if something happened, it was going to be a big issue.
Next, the ugly showdown
Well, what was said?
with Barnaby's wife
I can't repeat the words on television.
and the toughest decision of all.
How close were you to terminating?
Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce, who's 51, and his media advisor Vikki Campion, 32, had secretly begun their affair in late 2016. At the time, Barnaby was married to Natalie, his wife of 23 years. They have 4 daughters.
Why did your marriage fail?
So like most people, it's quite simple. So if you live on the road, you live in motels, you're always somewhere else. If you're good at your job, everybody wants you somewhere else.
Had the love gone out of your marriage?
No, I'm not going to go into that space. I mean, these are really decent people, and I'm not going to humiliate anybody by saying yes or saying no. That's completely private.
Does part of you still love Natalie?
Look, once more, I'm not going to start dragging other people into it. That issue stays completely off grounds.
Sure. But lastly, do you want to say anything to them while we're here? Would you like to say
I would
anything
never say
to Natalie
anything to
and
them
your
on
daughter?
television. I would say that to them in person.
Was this an affair?
Or I suppose if in the terminology of it, I suppose you'd say that we met each other and we're in a relationship. How you want to call it is that. I think that word comes with a form of pejorative attached to it.
And it's only happening because the National Party is driving that agenda.
By April last year, rumours about the affair were circulating around Parliament House. And Barnaby's wife, Natalie, was becoming suspicious about her husband's relationship with his media advisor.
Am I right in saying there was a confrontation in Tamworth between you and Nat?
We don't need to talk about that. I'm going to make absolutely certain that we're not putting another person in this interview who may not wish to be as part of this interview.
She still is part of it though, Barnaby. You've got to understand that.
Yeah, well, and they have every right. Natalie has every right to be left alone. And
Was there a confrontation though?
but that's once more. The good thing about being in politics for as long as I have, about 20 years, is I know how to also stop a question. I'm stopping that one.
Vikki, I feel like you want to say something.
Only that
You don't have to answer, darling. Because it's a question that's asked, but it's a question asked that they know the answer to. You don't have to answer it.
Well, what was said?
I can't repeat the words on television.
That hurt?
Of course. I think, we both know what happened that day, and I don't think it's relevant for everyone else to.
Sure.
Despite the private breakdown of their marriage,
Is that for Tony?
That's, behave yourself, Tony, behave yourself.
in public, Barnaby and Natalie kept up the appearance of being a happy couple, attending Canberra's midwinter ball together in June last year.
Why? Well, shouldn't you have taken Vikki?
People always think there's some sort of like definitive day where, oh right, you're in a relationship at that point in time. It didn't work like that. You have an issue that you're trying to resolve, or maybe make better. Always trying to say, look, let's try and fix this up. Let's try and work something out.
So at that time, you were trying to patch things up?
I think all the time you try to. That's why these things are so serious. You don't We didn't stumble into this like little kids. We were adults. You show me a person who's had a perfect marriage and I'll show you someone who's a perfect liar.
Were you living a lie? Because you and Vikki were in a relationship at that time.
Well, look, yeah, well, I suppose it was. Yep, there you go. Yep, I suppose it was living a lie. And and that's something I'm not proud of. You know, it's and I don't want to make excuses. The fault is mine. I did the wrong thing. And you know, like, but most people, you say, oh, we'll try and fix this up, we'll try and sort this out. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
A trying time for you too, Vikki, I'd imagine at this time.
Yeah, it was complicated.
Did you feel like the other woman?
I think it was, you know, our circumstances were very difficult.
See, Vikki, the fault doesn't really reside with Vikki. It resides with me.
No, it doesn't. I never intended for any of this to happen. I never intended for anyone to be hurt. And I'm sorry. So that's...
Yeah, but I'm the adult. I mean, it's the fault. The fault is mine, you know, and
I'm an adult too.
yeah. Well, so yeah. But I suppose I just think we should have. It's the fault does not. I don't like them looking at you saying, oh, you know, the Scarlet Woman. That's bullshit. You know, it takes two to tango, and I was part of that.
But the two was about to become three. In late winter last year, Vikki took a pregnancy test.
I took the pregnancy test and that was it. And we both kind of realised we have a very difficult, complex
Journey ahead of us.
situation right now.
Bang.
Yep.
Yeah.
How did you feel? Excited, at least?
I don't think that was my first reaction. I felt, I think, overwhelmed by the complexity of, you know, the situation which we'd caused ourselves.
And you were all alone, and you were all alone when you did the test.
Yeah.
How did you react?
It was, well, I knew right then. Well, I'll be really frank. I don't believe in abortion, so I just knew straight away that basically at that point I had my job I was going to lose my job as the Deputy Prime Minister, and that was in front. And you know what? All I was doing is just hoping and praying for a healthy baby.
Barnaby is strongly pro-life. I, you know, believe that a woman has a right over her own body up to a point. Certainly up until the baby has a heartbeat. I thought, well, maybe I should just take matters into my own hands and basically save everything from happening.
No.
But
By doing what?
Yeah, well, you know what.
by considering an abortion. So, and you know, I tried, and I couldn't go through with that.
How close were you to terminating?
Well, I bought the medicine online. You can't do it in the ACT. I drove interstate. I walked in and I walked out again. And then I just, you know, and that's something like, honestly, because if Seb sees this later,
well,
you know, that's something that...
But don't think badly about yourself. I mean, this is a drama that so many people go through. I'm never, ever going to accuse anybody of, you know, making that decision. I can understand that people are under incredible pressure, and Vikki more than most. You know, I can't enforce my views on other people.
Vikki?
Well, I basically felt like I had basically felt like I had two options. You know, if I could have an abortion and then just move overseas and just forget everything had ever happened. And then when I couldn't do it, I had in my head, I wrote to my two closest girlfriends from high school, and I just said to them, I'm pregnant and I think I'm going to be doing this by myself, and I'm doing it. You know, it was a miracle that I was pregnant in the first place. I had medical issues which made me believe, and where I had been told, certainly by doctors, that I wouldn't have children, and had just recently received that information. You know, at that point, I lived with my brother, and I had and I kind of said to him very early on, yeah, this is what I might be having a baby, I might be on my own, and he was like, well, I'll help, Vic. So,
the way carpenters do. That's all right.
She'll be right.
I'll build a car.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty much. So it wasn't, it was not an easy decision. It was a decision that I agonised over for weeks and months. You start thinking, crazy things about, adoption and, stuff like just so he could have a normal life.
Next,
it was Canberra's worst kept secret.
the secret is out.
You were pissed off.
I'm very.
I was deeply hurt.
As a pregnant Vikki is ambushed.
Right in the middle of that road. They went ahead with that story on a hunch.
And Barnaby's forced to fess up.
How did you explain it to your family?
I'd done the wrong thing. It's a very hard conversation.
It was Canberra's worst kept secret. Those inside the walls of Parliament House, ministers, journalists, media advisors, knew of Barnaby's relationship with his young former staffer. The rumour mill was in overdrive. But very soon, one of the biggest political scandals in recent memory would come crashing out into the open. And all it took was one candid photograph and a clever headline.
They went ahead with that story with the Bundle of Joyce headline on a hunch.
So, Vikki, this is where that photo was taken.
That's right, well, right in the middle of that road.
Right.
I'm walking across the road, I hear this horn blare, I look over, I'm staring down the barrel of a camera, like this one, and I'm looking at the person behind it going, are you a photographer that I worked with for 8 years?
You were pissed off.
I'm very. Getting a photo of a pregnant lady walking across the street is not Bob Woodward. That is pretty basic. If you wanted the proper scoop, I would have taken the photo of us going for a swim in the morning. That would have been a good one. I would have.
I am glad they didn't do that.
That would have been. No, that's
that
what
would
I
have been even worse.
So
Aren't they just doing their jobs, though?
I accept that there were public interest questions, definitely. However, I think that the way that they did it was wrong. They harassed our friends, they harassed our family.
They even stopped your father in the street.
They did.
Vikki had not spoken to her father, Peter, who lives in North Queensland, for years.
I've got rather a taste for lamb roast at the moment, and I think a deputy PM on a spit would be, quite a sight.
And I think the Deputy Prime Minister on a spit would be quite a sight.
I think
you can't pick your family.
I was
It was more comical.
I was deeply hurt.
Yeah.
you know, he's my father. I always love him.
It's all right. I'll be done. It's all right. Oh, yeah, so you can't pick your family. Your family is who your family is. That's it. And of course, families have a greater capacity to hurt somebody than anybody else.
And the word hurt, I mean, how did you explain it to your family, Barnaby?
Told them straight away.
You want to go there?
No, I just...
You didn't have to, or how did you explain it to Nat and the girls?
I told Nat. I wanted to make sure that she heard it from me and not anybody else. And I'd done the wrong thing. It was a very hard conversation.
Harder with your daughters?
They're very difficult. And so it's, I understand that's, as I said, Vikki had been hurt by her father and I had hurt the girls. There's no doubt about that. And I was wrong. I was in the wrong. Expected to, people to be bitterly disappointed, with the breakdown of my marriage. I was very mindful of that. I failed. And I'm sorry, the biggest failure of my life was the failure of my marriage. I'm very aware of that. Vastly more important than the political side was, to be honest, for Nat and the kids. To be quite frank, I couldn't give a shit about the political ramifications, really.
Good afternoon. This week, most of our attention has been focused on Barnaby Joyce. Barnaby made a shocking error of judgment in having an affair with a young woman working in his office. In doing so, he has set off a world of woe for those women and appalled all of us.
He said, you have set off a world of woe for these women and appalled all of us.
Yeah, well, I don't think that will ever be his Gettysburg Address, will it? I never expected a gold star. And I did not expect the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Australia to go and do a doorstop on it. That was wrong.
Ministers, regardless of whether they are married or single, must not engage in sexual relations with their staff.
Generally, what happens in these things is you admonish someone privately and you support them publicly. That's the sort of golden rule. And this was all back to front.
It was like
how did he respond?
You can chew out your vice captain in the locker room, but not on the field.
The changes being made today, that is the standard I am setting as Prime Minister of Australia today. Thank you very much.
In the media storm created by the so-called bonking ban, the pressure intensified.
You can't sleep with your staff.
Barnaby Joyce needs to resign. If I was Prime Minister, I'd have sacked him.
Barnaby was being slammed for not stepping down as Deputy PM.
Barnaby Joyce's position is increasingly untenable.
Does the Prime Minister still retain confidence in his Deputy Prime Minister?
Yes.
For the couple, there was no end in sight.
At this point, we had 6 cars, 6 crews, I think, staking out our place.
We were at wit's end. We had been locked up in a house for about 3 weeks. We had people sitting on it. It was about 3 weeks?
Yeah.
We had people sitting on our front lawn. We were living a nightmare.
Then, in a bizarre effort to take the heat off, Barnaby told a newspaper that it was possible the baby wasn't his.
You come out and you say, reportedly, that the paternity was a bit of a grey area.
Well, hang on. It was a tipping point. There were so many people who were close to me who said, what on earth possessed you to say that? But
well, a lot of people thought, gee, way to throw your partner under the bus.
yeah, well, it was actually a decision we made together. And we just wanted...
I didn't say use the words grey area.
Well, okay.
What did you say? What did you want him to say?
At that point, he was getting these questions from journalists saying, look, we're hearing that it's not your baby. And so the biggest scoop for them would have been that it wasn't at that point.
Yeah, and I get the sense you weren't too happy about it, Vikki.
I was deeply hurt by the grey area headline, definitely.
If I lock you in this house and put a heap of journalists outside and stop you sleeping and
have drones coming up to your window.
Drones are going out your window.
And they go and knock all your neighbours.
And then feed you through your back fence. I reckon after a couple of weeks, you'll probably say something crazy.
Next, Vikki's bombshell.
They said you're pregnant and you have to get an abortion.
The people who tried to stop little Sebastian being born.
And they said if you don't, they're going to come after you.
What are some of the most hurtful things you've seen said about you, Vikki?
The worst thing that I saw was a comment saying, I hope that the baby's born stillborn. And because I had health issues throughout the pregnancy, that was not an abstract concept. That was something I was dealing with the entire time.
I think the word homewrecker comes to mind. Did you see that written about you? I think a lot of people were saying that about you.
Yes. Again, I'm so sorry that so many innocent people were hurt and were dragged through this. I apologise.
The cruel and hurtful comments on social media were just the beginning. Behind the scenes, there were even darker forces at play.
You said there was outside pressure.
Yes.
From where?
From people within the parliament to... So they came to me, they said, you're pregnant and you have to get an abortion. And I said, it's too late. It has a heartbeat. And they said, if you don't, they're going to come after you. And
they did.
And they did.
They did.
Who was they?
You know what? I don't want to.
They will take you for a major court.
Okay. I mean, I don't want you to name names, but.
But can I just say conservative? People who are supposed to be conservatives.
God-fearing conservatives.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to tar the brush of everyone in the National Party as like that. At all.
Yeah, that's the absolute scum of the earth people that you can involve yourself with. There is something insidious and dark and horrible that happens inside that mad boarding school. And their contribution to it is they're going to try and make an incredibly difficult situation almost unbearable by saying to that woman, you will do this if you want a career in this place. And that's the Australian, that's your Australian Parliament.
Then, on February 23, Barnaby decided enough was enough.
Okay, on Monday morning at the party room, I will step down as the Leader of the National Party and Deputy Prime Minister of Australia.
Barnaby, the resignation, I was there that day. I watched you walk the long walk.
Yeah.
Did it feel unfair that you were being forced?
As soon as Vikki was having Seb, I knew that the day would come where I'd have to step down. I wasn't going to have Seb as the Deputy Prime Minister of Australia. I was going to make, that was absolutely certain. And I suppose towards the end I was fighting more out of spite than logic. and just thinking, I'm not going to let these people beat us.
I was supposed to be a
that?
circuit breaker.
Yeah.
Was that your advice? Was that your... What were you saying to Barnaby?
My advice was to sit down,
Yep.
and then we worked on the speech.
Yep.
That'd be a circuit breaker for Vikki. It'd be a circuit breaker for my unborn child. It'd be a circuit breaker for my daughters, and it'd be a circuit breaker for Nat. It's got to stop.
How did you feel afterwards?
Now I had to get back to making sure that Vikki was in a safe spot to have the baby.
The baby was due in just over a month, and Vikki was determined to keep the birth as private as possible.
I had absolute angels at Armidale Hospital. The midwives there were just incredible, and they were super protective, and they seemed to be the only people to me at that point who realised that there was an innocent little baby that's been caught up in this whole thing. And they went above and beyond to keep everything closed. And we managed to not let anyone know. Managed to keep it quiet.
You did well.
It was huge because we went to extreme lengths to do that. I said to my brother, when I told him, and he was like, I want to send flowers. I was like, don't, because there'd been journalists who'd been contacting florists in the region saying, I'm a good friend of Vikki Campion's. Has she had the baby yet? So it was kind of like sitting in this room with not a flower there, and they were just so special.
Yeah. That was very good. Yeah, it was like the Great Escape. Had to keep on pretending we were still in the cell.
Sebastian Curtis Scott Joyce was born on April 16, 5 days overdue. He weighed 3.8 kilograms, almost 9 pounds on the old scale.
And was it an easy birth? Women will want to know.
It wasn't easy, but no. He was enormous. No, it wasn't.
Not much fun.
No. It was, I think, the first scene, like as soon as I saw him and held him, it was just that everything was worth it for this.
Next, a family affair. How little Seb changed everything.
You look at Sebastian and you think, boy, man, you caused some problems.
My mum, she calls him Miracle Baby because that's really what he was. So I'm just really grateful for what we've got.
6 weeks after he was born, Vikki, Barnaby and baby Sebastian are posing for their first photos together as a family.
That's beautiful. To have a healthy, happy, absolutely gorgeous baby. Oh. He's so smart and big.
Vikki, what are your dreams for Sebastian?
Oh, just to have a good life, I think. Just to, just enjoy the fresh air and the beautiful days, and to grow up safe and loved.
Even this morning, I just walk around and I look at Sebastian and it's just, you're so lucky You know, it's so, I don't want to sound saccharine, but it's such a blessing. Is that?
It's a blessing.
It's a blessing, and you just look at this, two blue eyes staring up at the blue sky and staring back at you, and you look at Sebastian and you think, boy, man, you cause some problems. but it's all worth it, you know. It's all worth it, you know. And I, in my heart, what I want, in a funny way, and it's one of the reasons we're doing this, I want it now to dissipate and disappear.
Yep.
Because I just want him to be that little boy in the country.
A few days ago, Barnaby took little Sebastian to work. A walk through the halls of power, followed by a tour of his dad's new, smaller backbencher's office.
What if years from now your son comes to you and says, Dad, I want to go into politics?
I'd never discourage him.
What if he says, Dad, I want to join the Labor Party?
I'd say, well, why? And if that's what he wanted to do, and he had the right reasons to do it, I'd say, you know, go right ahead, mate. I'd probably, if you want to join the Greens, I'd probably have a much longer conversation with you.
Now, son, sit down. We're going to talk.
What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong?
I think he was a very good boy today.
He was. Travelled well.
He did travel well.
But as wrong as things felt many times over the past year, there's no doubt that there's plenty that's right about life since Seb arrived.
The entire ordeal, you know, being pressured for an abortion and the frenzy and having to hide, it was all totally worth it. He's just beautiful, and you know, I mean, he's all out of my life.
Having spent the last couple of days with you guys, I see two people madly in love who still can't quite believe what all the fuss is about.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
I think that we're very boring. People fall in love with their friends, and, you know, in workplaces they fall in love with their subordinates and their bosses and their colleagues, and, you know, there's nothing exceptional about that. It's just along the way, that's what happened.
Just happened to involve the Deputy Prime Minister.
Yeah. Oh, since when did that person cease to be a human being? When was not being human a qualification for your job as Deputy Prime Minister?
And when it comes down to it, this is a very human story. A story about a little boy who became famous all around Australia before he was even born.
I think we're very, very lucky. So lucky.